In this video, we are going to take a look at the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament and just the overall impressions. I'm not going to go through each single game box score by box score. I plan more to take a holistic approach, if you like, which focuses on the big picture, as well as taking a look at what the best games to come are on Sunday and Monday. Before we start, if you enjoy the content, then please subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Okay, so the first award, or one that I saw, the teams that crushed as expected, and that was all of the 1 seed. So UCLA crushed Southern 84-46, USC over UNC Greensboro 77-25, Texas over William and Mary 105-61, and South Carolina over Tennessee Tech 108-48. Now the 2 teams that were 2 seeds but crushed like a 1 seed. First, Duke over Lehigh 86-25, and then there was UConn over Arkansas State 103-34, winning by 69 points. I was gonna get up to watch this game, but when I woke up at 4 or 4:30, I looked at my phone and saw that it was 50-11 in the middle of the second quarter, so I promptly rolled over and went back to sleep, and that was one of the best decisions I have made today. Much better than my picks yesterday, that is for sure. Now the next award is they landed the plane safely. I'm a bit of a fan of air crash investigations. There was a Japanese flight and the pilot got in all sorts of distress and it rolled down, and the plane, a 747, was a mess when it landed. But at the end of the show, the aviation expert was like, that pilot did everything wrong, but he did the one thing you have to do if you're a pilot. He landed the plane safely and nobody got injured.
The one big thing they did right, and one only ever needs to do one big thing, is they saved the airplane.
And that award goes to Kentucky, who did not look good winning over Liberty. Well, they were up, and then they let Liberty back in the game because they went cold, and Amore had to win it for them at the very end by 1 point, or hold on for the 1 point win. But ultimately, I don't take much away from this. Kentucky did what they had to do, which was win the game. And all the coaches will tell you the same thing. The first round game is maddening because your team's been off for 2 weeks and you just don't know sometimes what you're going to get. Now, the other ones that held on, I'll call these the methodical wins, which goes to Baylor versus Grand Canyon and also Maryland versus Norfolk. In these games, these teams both had to battle who the heck is that player, much like LSU last year with Savannah Wheeler, who necessitated Haley Van Lith getting benched in the second half. Well, Trinity San Antonio for Grand Canyon, man, she can play, going for 27 points on 12 of 26 shooting. But Baylor had the antidote, which was basically dump the ball in to Von Lay, who just destroyed Grand Canyon on the inside, going for an efficient 25 points, going 10 of 13. I thought Maryland also did a good job keeping its cool because Norfolk was frisky, as they had Kiara Wheeler, who went for 20 on 8 for 14 shooting, as well as Diamond Johnson, who used to play for NC State, and when she's on her game, she is just a menace. And she was crushing it in the first half. Overall, she went for 18 points on 7 of 19 shooting. And at halftime, Norfolk went in with a 2-point lead, and they'd never lost a game, went up at halftime. But I thought Maryland did a good job of keeping their cool. Smickle and Sellers finally got going in the second half. Sellers had a throw off the back basket 3-point play, be replayed millions of times probably. But much like Kentucky, Baylor and Maryland did what they had to do. Now for the losers, the teams that were supposed to win, but they got upset. The first one would be and it's a minor upset, but number 8 Cal went down to Mississippi State. And on paper, this one looked pretty close, but Mississippi State just controlled the game the whole way through. And they basically messed up the party because everybody was hoping for a Pac-12 reunion with Cal going at it versus USC, but so goes the party. Now, the other loser was the Big 12. Number 7, Oklahoma State went down to number 10, South Dakota State, 68-74. Number 8, Utah went down 68-76 to number 9, Indiana. And as expected, number 11, Iowa State went down 74-80 to number 6, Michigan. Overall, 7 teams played and 3 lost for the Big 12. And day 2, all the matchups for the Big 12 are pretty tough. Number 4, Baylor versus number 5, Ole Miss. And Ole Miss has a chip on their shoulder. Number 5, Kansas State at Kentucky. I actually like Kansas State in that game. Sorry, Kansas State. Number 6, West Virginia at North Carolina, who's number 3 ranked. And number 2, TCU versus, of course, Louisville, who is a 7 seed. So as you can see, the road for the Big 12 does not get any easier as all those games are sort of line ball calls. I know TCU is favored by 12.5, but again, I think Louisville might be a tough one for them, as Louisville will definitely be fired up to get some vengeance on Haley Van Lith. It should be fun to watch anyway. Now, the other thing to keep your eye on is injuries, and we had 2 not big injuries, but just something to keep your eye on. Juju Watson and Olivia Miles both rolled their left ankle. Supposedly, Juju banged up her wrist a little bit as well. But in terms of the ankles, Juju was able to return and play some more in the game. Miles didn't return, but she could put weight on it, and by the time she rolled her ankle, Notre Dame already had control of the game. There was no need for her to go back in, so you would assume both of those players would play in the second game of the first round. By the way, in case you're wondering about Miles, that's the same one that she rolled her left ankle versus UConn. And speaking of UConn, not only did they win by 69 points, but more importantly, Aubrey Griffin played 10 minutes and went for 4 points and got 6 rebounds. Now the key for UConn is for Aubrey Griffin to back up in the following game on Monday, as she will be very valuable to UConn as they get deeper into the tournament. Of course, when they go against USC and back to USC, the hope for them and Juju, like these injuries she had weren't big, but will she continue to pick up niggles due to having to do so much and work for her points versus a team like UConn or Notre Dame or South Carolina where the load gets spread around the collective? Just something to keep your eye on. Now for Sunday's games and the lines. So Oregon at Duke. Duke is minus 14.5. Michigan at Notre Dame. Notre Dame is minus 14.5. Kentucky State at Kentucky. KSU is minus 2.5. Indiana at South Carolina. South Carolina is minus 22.5. Ole Miss at Baylor. Baylor is minus 3.5. Louisville at TCU. TCU is minus 12.5. Tennessee at Ohio State. Ooh, very intriguing game. Tennessee is minus 1.5. Ooh, that's very interesting and tasty, that game. And then Richmond at UCLA. UCLA is minus 15.5. And I bet you're thinking back to sports is too gun shy to make any picks after going 2 for 7 in my last video. Well, you're wrong. I've got Duke, Notre Dame, Kansas State in the upset, South Carolina, Ole Miss with the upset, Louisville with the upset, Tennessee and UCLA. I implore you not to bet your kids' college fund on my picks. In fact, bet against them. You'll have much better luck. Anyway, enjoy the games, your thoughts, your comments, and poison. It's all welcome.